Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to do my best to answer the question, does the Bible teach that the earth is young or old? In this specific context, old refers to billions of years and young refers to thousands of years. Now, the age of the earth has been a hot topic inside and outside of the Christian community for a long time. Now, typically, when Christians and non Christians address this issue, they do so from a scientific standpoint. But that's not what I'm going to do in this video. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate that the Bible teaches that the earth is thousands of years old, not billions. Now, in my humility, I will admit that I could be wrong about the conclusion I've reached regarding this issue. And if it's ever proved to me that I am wrong, I will happily change my mind. But at this point in time, I am convinced that Genesis 1 doesn't leave any room for an old earth view. With that said, let's begin in Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Now, some people hold to the position that there's a gap between verses 1 and 2, which could explain how the earth could be billions of years old. And if that is the case, there would be no conflict with the days of creation being literal 24-hour days. It would just mean that God created the earth and apparently let it sit for a long time before creating everything else. But there's a problem with this view. The Bible makes it very clear that God created everything in 6 days and rested on the seventh day, which is when his work ended. Now, whether or not you accept the days of creation to be literal days doesn't matter for present purposes. The point is, these 6 days, regardless of how one interprets them, make up the whole creation event. Exodus chapter 20, verse 11 says, "For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it." And Genesis 2:2 says, "And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made." So this means that everything that was created was all part of the same 6-day creation event. So if the earth actually was created in Genesis 1, it has to be included in the 6-day creation event because everything was created during that period of time. The reason I say if is because some people hold to the view that Genesis 1:1 is simply a summary of the creation event. But either way you go, the Bible makes it abundantly clear that all that was created in the 6-day creation event. So there is no possible scenario where the earth or some other part of the universe was created before the 6-day creation event, because that would be a clear contradiction. But is it possible that the 6 days of creation actually represent millions or billions of years and not literal days consisting of a 24-hour period? Well, I don't think so. The Hebrew word for day is yom. Now, it is true that yom can refer to an era or an eon of time. And that's why some people argue that the 6 days of creation don't necessarily represent 6 literal days, but instead they could represent eons of time, which would be in line with the notion that the earth and the universe as a whole are billions of years old. But there's a problem with this view as well. Even though it's true that yom can refer to an era or an eon of time, there's nothing in Genesis 1 that indicates that yom is being used in this way. Genesis 1 actually indicates that yom is being used to refer to literal 24-hour days. You see, each day in Genesis 1 is connected to a number in a morning and an evening. And any time the word yom is connected to a number and a morning and an evening, it always refers to a literal day. So there is no justification for thinking that the 6 days of creation aren't literal days. Now, some people might push back on this by saying, even if we accept that there is no gap between Genesis 1:1 and 1:2, and that the 6 days of creation are literal days, we still don't know when God created everything in the 6-day creation event. One of the things that Frank Turk likes to say is that the Bible tells us that there was a beginning, but it doesn't tell us when the beginning was. Well, I have the utmost respect for Frank Turk, and I truly believe that God has used him and is continuing to use him. But on this, we don't completely agree. Let's take a look at another passage. Matthew chapter 19, verses 4 through 5 says, "And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read, that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, For this cause a man shall leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh." Now, Jesus brought this up to the Pharisees to address the issue of divorce. But a fact that we get from this passage is the fact that Adam and Eve were made in the beginning, the same beginning that is part of the six-day creation event, which of course means that Adam and Eve were part of the same six-day creation event. And we do of course see that in Genesis 1, because man is made on day 6, but the point I'm trying to make here is that this passage places Adam and Eve at the beginning, and there was only one beginning, which means that we have a timeline that we can use to determine approximately when everything began, since we know how long Adam lived for and how long the people after him lived for. Now, regarding what Frank Turek said, it is true that the Bible doesn't tell us exactly when creation began, but it does give us the necessary information to determine approximately when creation began. So this obviously does lead us to the conclusion that the earth and the universe as a whole are not billions of years old, since the years listed in the Bible add up to thousands of years and not billions. Some professed Christians may not like this conclusion, but I think it's clear that this is what the Bible communicates. So we've established that everything that was created in the same six-day creation event. And we've also established that the days in the six-day creation event were literal 24-hour days. Therefore, everything was created in 6 literal days. And we've also established that the Bible places Adam and Eve at the beginning, which was part of the six-day creation event, which means we can determine approximately when everything began, since we know how long Adam lived for and how long the people after him lived for. We would just have to account for the days of creation. So based on all of these passages that we've examined in connection with sound hermeneutics and exegesis, I don't see how anyone could coherently argue that the Bible leaves room for an old earth view. As far as I can tell, an old earth view would have to be read into the text or arrived at through unsound hermeneutics and exegesis. Well guys, that's it for this video, so please let me know what you think, and remember to like and subscribe. Thank you.